Can you even imagine a world with no stories? No myths, no legends, no tales told around a campfire? Well, long ago, that's exactly what the world was like. A silent place, where every single story was kept under lock and key. And the one holding that key was Nyame, the sky god. Every story that ever was or ever would be belonged to him, and he guarded them jealously, way up in his palace in the sky, far, far away from people. But down on Earth, one very small creature had a very big and very dangerous idea. A spider, who looked at this silent world and thought, that's not right. Stories aren't meant to be hoarded. They should be shared with everyone. This is the story of that spider. His name is Anansi, and this is the incredible tale from West African folklore about the impossible price he was willing to pay to bring stories down to us. So, who exactly is Anansi? Well, he isn't just some spider in a fairy tale. He is one of the most important figures in West African and Caribbean folklore. He's what's known as a trickster, a hero whose superpower isn't strength, but his mind. He uses his wit, his cunning, to outsmart enemies that are way bigger and stronger than he is. Anansi is so important, he's literally woven into the culture. He even has his own symbol. This is an Adinker symbol called Anansi Ntontan, which means the spider's web. And it stands for everything he is: wisdom, creativity, and the beautiful complexity of life itself. So, with nothing but his cleverness, Anansi spun a single thread all the way up to the sky. He walked right up to the mighty sky god and asked him, point blank, for the one thing Nyame prized above all else: his stories. And Nyame? Yeah, you guessed it, he just laughed. Nyame wanted to seem fair, but he was absolutely sure Anansi would fail. So he set an impossible price. He told Anansi to go out and capture 4 of the most dangerous, terrifying creatures in the world and bring them back alive. He wanted Onini the python, Osebo the leopard, the Moboro hornets, and Moatia, a mischievous forest fairy. Now, Anansi didn't plan on using strength. He planned on using his brain. He knew that to beat your opponent, you have to know their weakness. And his first target, Onini the python, wasn't just known for his power, he was known for being incredibly vain. And Anansi used that vanity against him perfectly. He started a loud argument nearby, pretending to tell his wife, no, Onini is definitely not as long as this palm branch. Well, of course, the python overheard and his pride was wounded. He insisted on being measured, and to get a perfectly accurate measurement, he let Anansi tie him tight to the branch. The second he was all tied up, Anansi let him in on the trick. 1 down. He used the python's own ego as the trap. But next, he had to face an entire swarm. Anansi's second target was Imoboro, a whole swarm of hornets with vicious stings. He knew he couldn't fight them head on. That would be crazy. But he also knew their greatest fear. Hornets absolutely despise the rain. And this is just brilliant. Anansi creates a fake rainstorm. He takes a gourd full of water, holds a big leaf over his head, and starts pouring. He then shouts to the panicking hornets that they can take shelter inside his nice, dry gourd. As soon as the last one flew in, he plugged the hole. 2 down. All right, task number 3 was maybe the most dangerous yet. He had to capture Osebo the leopard, a silent hunter with teeth like spears. This wasn't about ego. It wasn't about fear. This was about pure, deadly instinct. So how do you trap a creature who is the master of ambush? Anansi knew he couldn't just react to the leopard. He had to make the leopard react to him. So he dug a deep pit right along Osebo's favorite hunting trail, covered it up so it was invisible, and then he just waited. When the furious leopard fell into the pit and accused Anansi of trapping him, Anansi's reply was just perfect. He said, I only did to you what you were planning to do to me. He literally turned the leopard's own predatory nature against itself. 3 down. Just 1 creature left. And this was a totally different kind of challenge. Moatia, the forest fairy. She wasn't just strong, she was magical, she was mischievous, and she was known for being greedy and having a very short temper. For this final trap, Anansi used pure psychology. He carved a little doll, covered it in super sticky tree sap, and put a bowl of tasty yams in its lap. Soon enough, the fairy showed up and demanded some yams. The doll, of course, said nothing. Well, Moti was so enraged by this rudeness that she smacked the doll and her hand got stuck. She hit it again and again until she was completely trapped by her own temper. The python, the hornets, the leopard, and the fairy. 4 impossible tasks, and he completed every single one, not with muscle, but with a mind sharper than any tooth or claw. Anansi gathered his 4 captives and returned to the sky god. Niame was just speechless. He had set a price he thought nobody could ever pay, and this small, seemingly powerless spider had met every demand. He had done the impossible. And so, true to his word, the sky god made a great decree. He gave Anansi every story in the world, and he declared that from that day on, all great tales would be called Anansi stories, or spider stories, in his honor. The myth ends with this beautiful idea. The spider won the stories for all of us. And since, in a way, they still belong to him, whenever a story is told, he's always there, somewhere in the shadows, listening. But why does this one story matter so much? Because Anansi became more than a character. He became a symbol. When these tales were carried across the Atlantic during the slave trade, they became powerful models of resistance, showing how the powerless could always outwit the powerful. He's the cultural ancestor of figures like Brer Rabbit, a true folk hero from West Africa all the way to the Caribbean. And that influence is still incredibly strong today. The spirit of Anansi's world is everywhere, from children's books to modern art, and even incredible performances, like this ballet. His stories are well and truly alive. So we'll leave you with a final thought. Anansi didn't inherit the stories, he didn't buy them. He won them through his wits, his cunning, and yeah, a little bit of trickery. So what does that tell us about storytelling itself? And about who really gets the right to tell the tales that shape our world?